Good. How are you?
Awesome. Mics sound good. Everything sounds good. All right, you guys. We have Debbie Renna Hines from New York. She is our moderator today. Christine Andreasen from Washington. Dave Cadoon from Alberta. Jesse Dow from Oregon. And Mitzi De La Cruz from California. Debbie, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Well, I just
Awesome.
want to, Brian, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me back here today. I really, I enjoy meeting new icons, and I don't know how many of you were in the previous session, but that guy, that Alan, he gave some great information. And, even as an icon myself, it made me think about something that I used to do years ago. And I'm saying, geez, why don't I do it again? And it just kind of all fits into place. So I hope all of you have something to write with, because we have a lot of things to learn from these icons today. So let's start with Christine. Christine, why don't you give us just a quick overview of who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about you so that we know something new.
Fair enough. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being our moderator today. Let's see. I am in Seattle, Washington. I run a team of about 12 agents. I've been in real estate for forever, for 20 some odd years. And I was with KW for quite some time, and then just jumped over to EXP 3 years ago. Been an icon every year, and best decision I ever made. So I have a team that handles all of Western Washington.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Dave, we're from Alberta, Canada, correct?
Yeah, good to see you again, Debbie. Lloydminster, Alberta, Canada, small town of 35,000 people. I've been in real estate for 8 years. I'm a retired police officer, and I love the job. I was with Remax prior to jumping over to EXP a little over a year ago. Just like Christine said, best decision I ever made. Icon my first year, continued to be top producer. Part of a domestic team, and looking to grow a team to be even bigger, as it's getting to the point it's tough to keep up with the amount of deals coming in.
Awesome. Thank you. Jesse, how about you next?
Yeah, it says down there that I'm from Oregon. I actually live in Eagle, Idaho now. Moved down to Arizona before moving out here, but I joined EXP March 1st, 2020, right before the pandemic. I was actually in Portland when it hit, and went into lockdown, moved to Arizona. I still have my team up in Portland, but I built a pretty unique model inside of EXP. I basically affiliate out all of my production. So last year I generated almost 200 closings, and I just disperse them out to agents around the country that I built relationships with.
Oh, well, we're going to hear more about that later, I'm sure. And Mitzi, how about you? Why don't you give us your elevator pitch here?
So just like Jesse, it shows I'm in California. I'm actually in Middle Tennessee in the Nashville area now. So I don't know who I've got to get with to get that updated, but we moved out here in August, and I've been with the XP now. It'll be 7 years next December. Icon 5, working on 6 this year, and I'm just really excited to share some nuggets with you guys.
Great. Mitzi, we're gonna continue with you, and I have a bunch of different questions, for all level of different agents. And I'm just curious, why did you choose this career of real estate?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I've got a bunch of kids at home, and I couldn't see any other opportunity for the exponential earnings that I could achieve in real estate, and to be able to pass that legacy along to my children and their children. That's really what my biggest driver was.
Hey, great. Jesse, how about you?
Yeah, so I actually spent 15 years in corporate America, primarily in the brewing industry. And, my dad died from liver cancer, and some other stuff happened. And I was just kind of tired of working inside of an environment that caused a lot of issues for people. And so I literally quit my job cold turkey on July 1st, 2017. I was in real estate by July 17th, 2017. So 17 days later, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I just saw $1 million listing and thought it looked awesome. And I learned super quick what real estate was truly all about. I spent my first 2 years focusing on open houses and for sale by owners and generated 50 closings. But the reason that I liked real estate was because I just saw this massive opportunity of an equal playing ground, and going through corporate America and dealing with so many politics. I just thought real estate was it was the amount of production and the amount of volume and money you want to make is limitless. And I really loved that situation, that you were the one that had to take action to create the life that you wanted. And if it didn't happen, it was on me. It wasn't on anyone else.
Awesome. Dave, how about yourself?
I kind of just stumbled into it. As mentioned, I was a police officer. I ended up getting sick and I had to retire. My realtor suggested to me that, hey, why don't you join this business? And I like dealing with people. So it came to the point of, what do I do? Well, this will give me something to do. Not honestly realizing the potential it had, the growth that I could make. And, just happens in life. Sometimes you just stumble into what you should have been doing 20 years ago. And I really wish I would have done it way back when. It's grown on me. And now understanding what this business is. And like Jesse said, it's unlimited. We can just keep growing, and you set your own path.
You said something that reminded me of so many people I speak to, including myself, is why didn't I do this much, a long time ago? The rewards from it, what we see out of it, it's like, why didn't I take this path? But I guess we all have a path and we all have a story, right? So great. Thank you. Christine, how about yourself?
Oh, man. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first company when I was 19 and ended up somehow about 20 years ago, I was leading a seminar for another company, a company called Landmark, the Landmark Forum. People heard about Landmark. But anyways, a gentleman that was in real estate said, you should lead real estate seminars. You could be a keynote speaker. And he took me on a little real estate tour with him. And I ended up doing that for 10 years. Then in 2008, when the market crashed, that gig of being a real estate keynote speaker disappeared. Nobody was coming to spend thousands and thousands of dollars with Realtor.com or whoever I was speaking, top producer, all the different places. Nobody was spending that kind of money with coaching anymore. And I thought, well, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I've been talking about real estate for 10 years. I'm going to jump in and start selling some real estate. So in 2009, when everybody else was fleeing the industry, I jumped in. I got licensed here in Washington and started selling houses. And I literally just, crossed my fingers and went with Warren Buffett's saying of be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. So everybody was afraid to be in real estate at that time. And I jumped in. Loved it. Took me a couple of years to get myself, back into the black, so to speak, after the crash of 2008, but it's been uphill ever since. And I too think, why didn't I do this earlier?
I know. I think that seems to be the theme lately. Everybody says, why didn't I do this earlier? Okay, so Jesse, how do you think that you as an icon realtor make a difference in your community?
I think there's a lot of different things, whether it's give back, whether it's helping other agents. My business is very leveraged in a sense that I generate a lot of deals that I don't close myself. So I saw that if I could step out of production, actually I stepped out of production a month after I moved to EXP, and my business actually 10x through the pandemic. And so I was able to help a lot of other agents and actually have a lot of hired administration as well. So I've been able to provide a lot of people with jobs and a lot of agents with deals that helps, just create a lot more opportunities for a lot of other people, and then the give backs in the communities, raising awareness for, trafficking and a lot of situations that are at hand. So I wouldn't say I think the icon piece comes as a result from the things I do, because I don't go out there and just think to myself like, oh, if I sell another deal or I sell, 80 deals this year, I'm going to make an icon. It's just a result of what happens from the other things that I do.
So let me ask you a question. Speaking of leveraging, because I'm sure everybody kind of wants to know what you do. We're going to go a little bit sidetracked here. But when you speak of leveraging, can you give us an idea of what you do? Like, what are you using as your CRM? What are you using as software content? Can you give us a little idea with that?
Yeah, so I just use KV Core. Like I said, I'm not in production, so I encourage the team to use KV Core. Obviously, it's provided to us at EXP. So the systems that I use to generate 100% of our deals for the longest time was YouTube organic long form content. It's a search engine, and that's like, if you guys have ever heard of my business partner or myself teaching in EXP World, Channel Junkies is our marketing agency. So that's what we teach agents. We have about a 20,000 agent following. But with regards to leveraging, obviously you need a transaction coordinator. And the other piece to the pie is, and the biggest opportunity in the industry, and this is for everyone, is post-closing automation. So when you close a deal, what happens to your clients? We all know the stats. 87%, 90% of agents never follow up with their clients ever again. And even the agents even admitted that they don't have a system. And every client, 90% of them say they would use their agent again, but only 12% do. So we use a tool called HomeBot for that. And then recently we integrated a celebrity agent into our business. It's kind of making a big push in the industry. I think it's an amazing tool for past clients, past listings. And then also they have another tool in there called Buyer Concierge, which is super cool. So there's a lot of things. I come from the school where I need to see it work first before I actually trust that it's going to work. There's a lot of fluff in this industry. So the whole reality is if you're going to do something, the best thing to do is make sure that you build a business that if you step out, you're not the one that has to keep producing. And that's something that I learned really early on, is because you can't, if you're the one that has to be involved with the business, you're never going to be able to scale. And most importantly, you're never going to be able to step out of production or sell off your business at the end of your career. So when you build brands, Inman just released an article a couple of weeks ago, and it was like the 10 mistakes agents do in building a brand. And one of them was actually naming the team their own name. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Our team name is Real Agent Now Group, because it's hard to get agents to come work for you when your team name is Jesse Dow Real Estate. It doesn't get them to buy in. So there's a lot of things that go into this. This could be like a 10-hour conversation, but those are just some of the key things that we do.
Great. Well, that's a lot of great information there. But see, how about you? What do you think that you do as an ICON agent to be known in your community or make a difference in your community?
Great question. So this is a big one for me. I really have built my business in large part on that very concept. So to kind of start at the beginning with me, I've been licensed now. It'll be 10 years in November. And when I got into real estate, I was a single mom. I was struggling, and I basically didn't, I was kind of going around town and kind of keeping my head down type of thing. I basically I lacked the confidence to really understand early on that, what I needed, what was most important in showing up in my community was, being a light in the community, being an advocate for the community and things of that nature. But I knew that my community had loved on me quite a bit, especially in those early years when I needed some help and some support. And so as my career started to take off, what was really important to me is that a lot of different organizations and things in the community that had helped me, that I was giving back, that I was serving on board of directors, that I was, attending galas and offering raffle prizes and monetary donations, and really spending a lot of time volunteering and things of that nature. And so it was very organic for me. It's something that I just have a heart to serve. And so I didn't even think about the natural consequence as being, something that would be beneficial to my business. But I was really able to, learn to grow, not just professionally, but personally, which resulted in becoming a household name in the community. And then about 6 years ago, I started a Facebook show. So prior to moving to Tennessee, I was in a town outside of Sacramento called Lincoln. And so I started a Facebook show, Lincoln Live. So every single week I would go around and I would interview local business owners, 501c3 nonprofits, just community leaders, generational families that had been in Lincoln for forever and ever, and just really help to tell Lincoln's story. And the result of that, just it was incredible. I'd be at the grocery store and I'd take a phone call, and the person in front of me would turn around and say, "Oh, you're Mitzi Dela Cruz," So it really catapulted my business in a way that I certainly didn't necessarily expect. It was kind of something that I was just doing to give back and to celebrate the community that had been so kind and generous to my family when we needed that help. And the results it was just amazing. So now in a new community, now I am starting a Facebook show in Columbia, Tennessee, and it will be Columbia Live, and I'll just, continue that footprint of what I know is going to be effective to help make me a household name in my new community as well.
I love hearing all those things. I think it's so important, to have a worthy cause and many worthy causes to show the community that you are giving back. Dave, how about you? How do you make a difference in the community?
Well, for me, and then, attributing it to reaching up to the icon, status is just being known. People need to put a face to the name. I find a lot of the clients that I end up dealing with, they're not just picking me out of random. They've researched me, they found me, they see not only the signs out there, but they search the name, they see the face. And for me, my busy season is essentially March through September, where I'm out, we're selling the houses, we're out dealing with all the buyers and sellers during that period. But the slower season, being October through February, is when I need to do my marketing. And okay, I'm up in Canada. I like hockey. I play hockey. My kids play hockey. So I'm at the hockey rink. I advertise at the arena. I volunteer at the arena. I sponsor local hockey teams. My signs are everywhere. So I use, I'll call it my almost the off season to network, to recognize with the public, understand where they're coming from. This is where they get to know me. I actually just had a meeting with a lender yesterday, and the reason they reached out to me, they wanted to meet me, is because they see my stuff at the rink. They see my social media presence. And she asked me flat out, she goes, "Dave, how's the market?" I said, "Market's busy." I said, "I'm working 14 hours a day every day for the last 3 weeks. It's just been constant." And she goes, "That's funny." She goes, "I met with 2 other agents earlier this week and they're not busy at all." I said, "Well, what does that tell you?" It's showing you that there's people that are involved in the community, and others that are just sitting there, I'll use the term riding the pine, waiting for their call up, for someone to basically stumble upon them. So you have to get out there. People need to know you, and find your niche, find what you love to do, stick with what you love to do, and it'll just go right from there.
Wonderful. I didn't really know that there was an off season in hockey in Canada. My boys played hockey, and I think every summer we were still in Canada playing. Okay, Christine, how about yourself?
Oh, wow. Let's see. We do lots of fundraisers and things around the community to give back. We do food drives and donations. We also, my team and we're dog lovers. I have dogs. A lot of people on my team have dogs. So we do things that are a lot of fun around our community. We do puppy Halloween costume contests, and then we donate all the money to different organizations, paws or whatnot. We do, we really do just find any way. And I love I don't know who was just speaking, but I love what you said about do what you love. I think a lot of people, they get into real estate and they try to fit into a niche that's not really their niche. Like, I'm going to go learn to golf just so I could be around golfers. No, you really want to do something that you love. So we do a lot of things with puppies. I'm a boater, so I'm really involved in my boating community, and I'm on the board there. I also am a contributor. I am involved in things that really make a difference to me or matter to me, where I can make a difference for others. And we do lots of local events. We just did an Easter Bunny photo shoot at our office for all of our sphere, our past clients, and our community. So we try to be really around. I think, as a couple people have said, we're very visible, we're very around, we're willing to contribute and help out any way we can.
Great. And I think the last time you were here, didn't you mention something about that you have client appreciation parties?
We do. We have client appreciation parties. We do events like crazy. So
tell us a little bit about, not to interrupt you, but tell us a little bit about your client appreciation parties, because I think that is so important. And, some of the newer agents out there might want to do something like this. So how did that develop? How did you get started doing that? And what advice can you give to a new agent to do something of that nature?
Yeah, really great. Thanks. Well, we started when I was at Keller Williams. We would go to a restaurant and I would do a client appreciation party. And that can be a little pricey if you're a new agent and you don't have the money to go pay for. Well, I guess if you have 50 clients, you do have the money. But if when you're new, you don't have a lot of clients and a lot of funds. So it's a little bit different. But one of the things I love is I love doing it at my office now. We have a beautiful office space. It's on the water. So we'll do wine tasting. And the thing that's so great about any of those events is you get 5 touches for one event. So you get to call and invite them. You get to send a video and invite them. You get to send snail mail or an email invite. You get to touch your people, whether it's your clients.
Wait, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Can you say those 5 touches once again, please?
Yeah,
so that
absolutely.
Everybody really listens to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all invitations, right? So you get to call with a value add versus calling to ask them for real estate. So we do an invite, like a email invite. So that's one touch. Then we also have all of the agents on the team do a video invite where they just say, hey, I want to make sure you got my email. We're doing a wine tasting VIP client appreciation night, etc. So they get that touch. And then you call them right before the event. So you get that touch. And then whether they show up or don't show up, we're going to call and thank them for being there, or we're going to call and say we missed them. And then, of course, you have the event itself. So it's a lot of touches, and it doesn't even matter if they come or not. You get an opportunity to be their favorite realtor, calling to invite them to come taste wine. And I do the same thing for agent attraction. We do a TikTok and Tequila Tuesday where we invite other agents to come master TikTok and learn about TikTok and take fun TikTok videos at the waterfront. And it's just one event can get you so many touches to your client, and they're not saying, hey, do you want to buy or sell? They're really saying, want to come taste wine? Want to come have dinner with us? Want a free pie for Thanksgiving? So lots and lots of events.
Now, when you first started out doing all these events, as you said, it was very costly. What did you do to offset the costs?
Yeah, I did things that were cheaper in the beginning. I did a puppy costume contest and invited a lot of people, and all I had to pay for was the photographer. And then I got everybody's email addresses and sent them the pictures virtually. So I found ways to do it in the beginning where it wasn't me paying for dinner for 100 people. A puppy costume contest is very inexpensive and a lot of fun. You could do it at a local park, so you don't even have to pay for the venue. You just pay for the photographer for 3 hours, and then they send you the proofs and you send them all to the people that you got their email addresses. So find ways to save money.
Great. Thank you so much with that. Okay, so we're gonna shift a little bit here. And I know I'm almost positive that all of my icons on stage, including myself, use some kind of time blocking device. And I want to hear from you. Dave, we'll start with you. What do you do for time? How do you time block? And can you give me an example of what a typical day might look for you?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to live by the calendar. I used to do everything in my brain, and that's fine when you're not doing much because you can keep up. But I started to learn that I was missing things or overlapping appointments. So I live by the calendar. And let's just looking at, I'll use yesterday, for example. So yesterday, my calendar starts at 7 in the morning. So I'm up early, but 7 a.m. is when I start work. And my work is with agent attraction. So between the hours of 7 a.m. and noon, I have calls with agents across North America for agent attraction. In between those calls, I'll work on a little bit of marketing or anything that can be attached to my desk, maybe even call a few clients if need be. Between noon and 6 p.m., I'm out showing, doing new listings, photos, videos. That is the time for me to be outside of the house. The evenings can either be more showings or writing offers or just catching up on messages throughout the day. And that goes until at least 9 o'clock at night. So my calendar day goes from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., 5 days a week. Weekends, I try to keep open for my family, and I'll do some showings here and there. But I found I have to be regimented. And being a former police officer, I find I have to have structure. Structure is key, and it's the path to success.
Great. Jesse, how about you?
Yeah, very similar there. I have every single thing. I have set meetings every week. My situation is a little bit different than a producing agent because I run my whole company and I don't produce real estate. But the everything is set up through Calendly and Zoom. So if anybody wants to meet with me, they have to schedule on my Calendly link, and we meet face to face on Zoom. I did that back when I was selling real estate as well, and it really changed the dynamic of my business. And actually, when COVID hit, that's one of the key things that actually led to our business 10xing was that every single person in the world knew what Zoom was. Before COVID, people thought I was putting a virus on their computer when I asked them to meet me on Zoom, just because I wanted to build that face-to-face relationship versus just a text message or a phone call. So 100% of my stuff is done by the calendar. If you're not on my calendar, we're not talking. And the same thing goes for my family as well. So that's pretty much what I do. I start every morning at about 9 a.m. and I work till about 5. And then obviously things come up here and there where we have to work, after hours and whatnot. But I do also integrate everything for agent attraction into my Calendly as well. So I have a special link set up for Calendly that I have on social media and on where I generate my agent attraction agents from.
Great. Mitzi, how about with you, with your calendar?
So same here. I mean, I in the early years, I used to try and remember all of my appointments and remember to prospect and things like that. It's just a recipe for disaster. Inevitably, the busier that you get, it's not, clearly not sustainable. So everything goes in my calendar. Everything from, I'm up at 5. I've got kids still in the house, so 4 kids in the house, and I've got to get my 6-year-old up and ready for school. But meanwhile, I am going to the gym. I'm getting my workout time in. I'm having my breakfast, and then I'm still running a team in California. So I'm working around Pacific time most of the time because that's, where the majority of not just my team, but also my current business is. So I'm doing Zoom meetings for my team meetings, which we've got 2. We've got Monday meetings and Friday meetings that are just production based, where we're just going over all of everything that we have that's currently in process. And then Wednesday, I'm running my sales meeting for my team. And so that's all. So basically, I'm taking those appointments, those hard appointments, my non-negotiables, like my gym time, my family time. I'm plugging all of that into my calendar first. And then I've got pockets of time allocated for prospecting, pockets of time allocated for meeting with clients and things like that. So it really does free you up when you take that approach. Wednesdays mornings before my sales meeting, I get to go read to my daughter's class, which is incredible. And I know that if I handled my calendar differently, I would miss out on all those opportunities and not have the ability to still be productive simultaneously.
Okay. And Christine, I think we have you left to answer that question.
Yeah, well, much like everybody said, I live and die by my calendar. I really do operate. There is not one single promise I make in the world that I don't put in my calendar. Even if I say I'll call you on Tuesday, casually to somebody, it goes into my calendar. And much like I think David and Jesse both mentioned, Calendly, people can book their appointments with me through an app, Calendly. I also do a lot on Zoom. And then I have my big rocks go first. I put things in that are non-negotiables. I have a ritual in the morning. I do the morning miracle or miracle morning. Anybody who hasn't read that book, it's a super easy read and a fabulous practice to set yourself up and really have your mindset be right. And then Monday through Friday, I have an 8 a.m. huddle that is with my team, but open to the public. So for example, this morning we had 3 people join us that were from other brokerages, just coming to check it out. So I have other agents that come onto that mastermind, and that's Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. And I never, ever, ever, never veer. I haven't missed one, unless I'm on a vacation and it's way ahead of time announced, I'm always there. And so I also am not in a lot of production. I mean, I'll work with a couple friends or past clients, but mostly my job is to empower my team. That's why I exist. So I have a lot of calls with them through the day. And if I say I'll call you, it goes into my calendar and I honor my word there. So my calendar is operated with the utmost integrity, and it's what keeps me sane.
Great. Yeah, I think it's so important. A lot of people have calendars, but they don't honor them. And that was one consistent thing I've heard from all of you, is that you honor your calendar, and that's amazing. Christine, I'm going to start with you. Can you give me an idea of a challenge that you face on a regular basis, or a challenge that you're trying to overcome within your business?
Oh, let's see. Sure. I mean, my jam is my team. So it's more in building a team than it is in production. But I think, right now we're creating my top agent on my team. He's been in business with me for 10 years. So he's almost like a business partner, even though he's an agent on my team. He's been on my team for 10 years. And we're creating a game called Make It Rain. And it's a program that we're trying to crack the code on making sure that we could take any new agent, and in the first year working with us, they'll be making 6 figures. So it's a challenge, mostly overcoming people's mindset that you have to start slow, or that your first year isn't just off the charts, or that the market matters. It doesn't matter what kind of market you're in. It doesn't matter if you're new or not. There are particular steps that if you take them and if you do the right work, you will produce the result. So that's one of the challenges we're working with, is really having it be just having it be so flat-footed that this is all you have to do is A, B, C, and D, and you will be successful. That's a game we're playing right now called Crack the Code and Make It Rain.
I love it. When you look for a new agent to bring onto your team, how does that happen?
Are you saying how do we get them, or what are we looking for?
Yeah, both. How do you get them, and what are you looking for?
Both. We run ads. We run ads on Indeed, and there's a couple different places, or Facebook or whatnot. We have a 33 drip text campaign in Chime, which is the CRM that I use, that goes out to agents. So when somebody says that they're interested, then my director of operations will book an appointment with me via Calendly. And we're looking for people that have grit, that really have the right attitude, that really do have the heart for it, and the work ethic for it, and the motivation for it. And if they have that, I can show them how to make it.
Wonderful. That's awesome. David, how about you? I know you're a little bit different because you have a domestic team, and I know you're in the process of building one. So what are the challenges that you face on a daily basis, and what are you doing to create your new team?
Finding agents who want to work and don't want to be spoon-fed. I've had 2 on my team in the past, and honestly, it didn't work. They ended up going off on their own, and one of them sold 4 homes last year. The other one ended up selling 12. One finally came around to understanding how the business works. But where I found is agents just need to understand that we maybe have a similar mindset. And again, that goes back to me being a police officer, where the type A personalities, they get along really well, but you get some others that get in there, it can form some conflict. I want the agents to be able to grow. I want to show them what they need to do, but then also for them to grow themselves. And that's what I really enjoyed about EXP in regards to agent attraction. The person is on your team, but they're also there to succeed for themselves. And that's where I've had some success in meeting some agents that way, is they've got the drive to grow. They want to get bigger. So that's where, again, I'm not gonna lie, I've struggled in that aspect, and trying to find that right relationship. And being in a smaller community than many of you, my pool of agents to choose from is very small. So it's tough. It's tough to fish out there.
All right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Sometimes it is harder when you have a smaller pool of people. Okay. How about Mitzi? How about you?
So I'd say the biggest challenge that I face right now in this current moment is rebuilding a business, stepping away from 10 years of having basically, being a complete household name in my community, and having a very heavily referral-based business in the Northern California Sacramento market, and then just completely starting fresh in the Middle Tennessee market. That I would say it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's very humbling. One of the things that it's really shown me is that fundamentals, they just don't change. And I love what Christine's working on in that realm for new agents. And I'd love to hear more about that, Christine. Just because, there is a lot of consistency as far as what needs to happen, no matter what stage or what area you're in, what stage of your business, or what, where you're at logistically. But I'd say, so that's probably my biggest challenge at this point, is just, I'm managing my team, and still continuing to do a large amount of production in the Sacramento region, and then also expanding the team into this new market.
Great. Thank you so much. And Jesse, you have like this very interesting concept of how you do real estate. So what are your daily challenges, and how do you bring people onto these different teams that you have?
Yeah. So, so I still run a traditional team out of Portland, and so I still have the traditional issues. And, one of the biggest things that I saw happen is, and one of the things that I really set up my business for is, with the splits and everything, is the agents are extremely favored on the deals they bring to the table. They get 75%. The deals that we bring them, which are hot leads, they get less than that. Like, it's down to anywhere from 30 to 50%, just depending. But the thing that I realized is, once the market shifted, my team was 5 agents in Portland. I had 3 of them leave. They didn't even wait around. They just heard the market was changing. And in the last 12 months on their personal deals, they did 1 to 2 deals, and they didn't want to work and go out and do the hard work. So, the challenge is, and I think David said this, is just like finding people with alignment and people that wanting to do the work. The sad thing about the real estate industry is 87% of people fail in their first 2 years. And it's because they have a misconception of what doing real estate really is. I mean, I was guilty of the same thing, but I took action extremely quick. So, really it's just finding, for me, I actually look for team leads that are just looking to integrate something into their business that's going to generate more business, and if they can handle it. And that was one way I was able to build agent attraction into EXP as well. And that's why I loved EXP. So I do a lot of my agent attraction through social media, especially YouTube. So for me, it's all inbound. Just like my real estate business, I focus on an inbound real estate business model. And then for agent attraction, I focus on an inbound basically recruitment system as well. And it's paid off very, very well. And not everyone's meant for the team. And we have those conversations up front. I pretty much know now, after interviewing probably 1,000 agents, or more, kind of like what the ideal agent looks like for our team, what the ideal agent looks like to be a solo agent, who's going to be successful, who's not going to be successful. And I try to guide them in the right path forward. Of course, I'm not always right 100% of the time, and sometimes things don't work out. But as long as you have your I's dotted, your T's crossed, and you know exactly what your mission is and what you're trying to accomplish as a business owner. And that, I think one of the toughest things as a team owner or when you're starting to build and scale is, your goal is to, keep increasing your volume by making the same amount of money or actually increase your revenue as a team owner, because you don't want to step out of production and lose. And that's typically what happens. And team leaders are the rainmakers, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And that's where people get stuck a lot of the time. So it's finding really good people. And I was taught early on that my first hire should be my TC, and then my second hire needs to be someone that can replace me in the business. And that's what I did all along the way, is I always found someone in each market that could replace me in the business. And that was my first hire when I was building out my teams.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hey, Christine, was there anyone or something that made a huge impact in your life of real estate and got you to where you're going? I know you talked about, speaking for different companies, but was there any one person, like a go-to person?
Oh my gracious, I think there's been so many. I've had so many mentors. I've been blessed to be around a lot of really, really great people, but I think having a coach is one of the most impactful things you can do. I have a coach right now named Kelly I've been working with for almost 3 years, and she's not even a real estate coach. She's an entrepreneur coach. But I think, having somebody see what you can't see about your business, having an outside view to see your own blind spots and to give you a different perspective is just really brilliant. I also participate, like I said, I led seminars for a company called Landmark for years, but I think everybody in the world should do a program called the Landmark Forum. Really, really amazing course. It's an ontological course, so it looks at who you're being about your life and your business, and instead of being a circumstantial life, right? So that's another big one. And then, I just think the most important thing you could do is get yourself a great mentor, a great coach, and always be working on yourself. Always be developing yourself, not just your business.
Okay, and just quickly, give us one book that you think that would be so important for all of us to read.
Oh, man.
We're all going to have different books, right? So
many, right? Well, I already mentioned The Miracle Morning. I love Fanatical Prospecting. I love Built to Win. I mean, there's so many great ones. And again, have it be something that's going to transform you. Don't have it be entertaining. Have it be something that's going to transform who you are in your leadership. Obviously, there's Think and Grow Rich and all of the staples that we've heard about for forever. I read that book probably every year.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, Dave, how about you? Was there any one person or something that helped you, made a huge impact in where you are now, or got you to where you were?
Yeah, actually, and it's funny, Jesse mentioned it earlier on in the conversation about the whole $1 million listing. So let's talk about Ryan Serhant. He started a course back in 2019, and I jumped on that course, and I took the first level of that course, and I'd read his book previously, and I was very interested in how he handled business, just about him being himself, and that's how I like to do my thing. And it grew into, I upgraded in the course, and then I actually had Ryan himself, as well as one of his agents, Katie Thurber, pick apart my business. And the one-on-one was huge. And of course, you're starstruck by dealing with someone like this, but then the fact that they picked apart my business, told me where I was going wrong and what I needed to do. And here I am, in a city of 35,000 people, and he's in New York City telling me the differences, but he could relate. That's where things turned for me. And that, again, was in 2019, and the pandemic hit, and I took control of how things went in the pandemic, and business didn't slow down. I'm no longer with that training organization now. Now my coaches are actually within my organization here at EXP. It's a great support network, but you always need to have someone to rely on and to speak with. And I speak with my coaches every week. One I spoke to an hour and a half ago, and the other one I spoke to 2 days ago. You need to bounce ideas off someone, because something you may think looks good, if they're honest, they'll pick it apart on you, and they'll direct you in the way you have to go.
Wonderful. And how about you? Do you have a go-to book or a book that you could just offer to everybody out there? I know a lot of people like to read, so I just thought this would be a time to share a book.
Yeah, absolutely. The most recent one was Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. It was leaned on to me late last year, and it was huge in regards to understanding how my business can grow and relating it to how EXP handles things. So if anybody has a chance to read that one, or even listen to it on Audible, that's definitely one to open your mind.
Great, thank you so much. Mitzi, how about you?
So as far as a monumental person in my life, I would say my business partner, Marguerite Crispillo. She, when I first got into real estate, I met her early on. I'd been in the business about a year. Wasn't going great. I did 3 deals my first year. Met Marguerite, ended up joining her in her boutique brokerage. And I did everything she told me to do. Eventually ended up joining her team, and took my business from 3 deals to 15 to 21 to 36 to 45. And then she finally said, okay, you don't need to be on my team anymore. You need to go off on your own. And so I ended up going off on my own for a couple of years, and then coming back together. And now we are equal business partners for the last couple of years. So I'd say, she's also my sponsor at EXP, and just a magnificent, wonderful woman. If you guys know her or don't know her, she's definitely someone to follow. So that's Marguerite Crispillo. As far as a book that really changed the game for me, it would have to be the E-Myth. The E-Myth really helped me to understand that to scale and to take things to the next level, really systems and structure are monumental. They just have to be implemented, followed, created, all of those things. So that would be, if you guys haven't read the E-Myth, there's actually E-Myth for real estate agents, and I highly suggest reading that book.
Great, thank you. I can't agree with you more. I think the E-Myth is one of my go-to books. I think I tell everybody, new agents, people that I mentor, get a copy of that book, because you'll read it more than once, and it really has a lot of great information in it. And I can't agree more about Marguerite. She's a wonderful person. When I first joined EXP, there weren't even 1,500 agents. Crazy now that you think that there's 87,000 agents. But with I think it was the first shareholders meeting, there were like maybe 500 people there, and it was, maybe there was that many, but she was there, and I've always remained following her. So she's a wonderful person. All right, Jesse, we're going to move on over to you.
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Was there one thing or somebody that made a huge difference or impact in your life, moving forward to real estate, or while you were in real estate, something that caused a transition?
Oh yeah, there's I heard Michael Burnoff. He wrote the book Average Sucks. He was at an EXP event a few weeks ago, and he said something super powerful. Was that the statement that he made was what you need to do to get to the next level is a lot different than what you did to get to where you are today. And I think as we move along in our business and life, things change day to day, month to month, year to year, and sometimes you outgrow the coaching that you currently have. So through each journey of my business, I could point to multiple different key things that I did to put myself in the right position or around the right people. But it was always talking to people that were light years ahead of me, and just having the right mentorship, whether that was paid or free. And a lot of times I hit the level where I now no longer was gaining any value from, that specific type of coaching. And I moved along, but I'm always looking to expand. And then, it happened when I was brand new as a brand new agent. It happened when I was, first going from 10 to 50 million and then 50 to 100. There was always different steps along the way, even outside of real estate, in my investment business. But, there's a couple books that I really loved that that I could reference. There's 3 of them actually that I think absolutely changed my mind. Like the first was the $100 million offer by Alex Hermosi, and he's like big in the digital space. But he says in the book, the premise is that you have to have an offer so good that people can't say no. And I think that's absolutely true, whether it's agent attraction at EXP, whether it's joining your team, whether that's someone interviewing for a listing, or work with you as a buyer's agent. You know, I think you have to provide such a high level of service that people would be crazy not to work with you. The 7 levels of communication was something that I read when I first got into real estate and absolutely changed my mind about how I did real estate. I think that's an amazing book. And then another book, it's not very popular yet. It's called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. It is just a book that basically teaches you to think, 5 steps ahead. It's not a book like they always talk about, like why you can't go too far, because it creates this vicious cycle of trying to always learn, not execute, things like that. So I think those are the core elements that have helped me get to where I am. And still to this day, I still look to surround myself with different people doing things differently that I want to get, because the fastest way to hit fast forward on anything is to just put yourself in the room or be around the space that those people are doing it, because real estate's not very complicated. There's people that have already done what we've done. And, I hear it every single day of an agent that's new. They're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's like, okay, like we already know what the path is going to be moving forward, but they think they're creating something. So, whether you're a mentor or you're a mentee, there's always a space for you to help others and learn.
Makes me think of one of my favorite quotes that I always say. And I've told Brian, our host here, many times, and it's, it's a lot easier to go downhill, but when you go uphill and you help others, the view is absolutely more beautiful. Jesse, before we go on to probably my last question, I think that we'll have time for, someone had asked in the chat box if you could just repeat the resource, something of HomeBot.
Oh yeah, HomeBot. HomeBot is probably it's the number one tool I recommend to every agent. They don't pay me anything. There's no affiliate with the company. It was actually a tool built for the lending industry, but they started realizing that real estate agents really liked it. So they built an agent side of it. It's like $50 to sign up. It's $25 a month. And what it does is it sends any client that you have that owns a house, you plug in their address and email, and you can plug in their lending information too. So like we use it for closed buyers, and now they own the house. We got their lending information, and it sends them a weekly report telling them how much their house is worth, what's going on in their zip code, how much their house is worth as a rental, how much it's worth as an Airbnb, how much equity they have in their house. And it allows them to adjust the value as well. And then you have to confirm it. But the thing that I love about it is it sends us back a monthly recap of how many people are integrating with the platform. And everyone that I talked to, I learned about it actually in one of the ICONversations years ago. And we got about 14 listings last year from it, but it tells you how much people are integrating with it. So anyone that hits it over 4 times a month, we just reach out to them and we say, hey, we're just checking in to see how things are going. Every single person's always like, hey, I've been actually thinking about selling my house. So it's kind of like a big brother thing. And people just absolutely love it too. It has over a 90% open rate throughout the entire platform, not just with us. And it's like I said, I just get raving reviews on it. So it's kind of like the Zestimate, but with way more integration, and you control it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And, if there's other items that you want from any of the icons, I'm sure through workplace chat, you can reach out to them, and I'm sure they're happy to help you out, because that's what we're all about here, is helping everybody grow to their greatest potentials, which brings me to probably my last question. So for those of you that do or do not know what a SWOT analysis is, it's SWOT, which stands for strength, opportunities, threats, and weaknesses. So, or weaknesses and threats. So I'm just going to if you could just go down and tell me, all of you, we'll start with Christine. Christine, tell me what your greatest strength is, and tell me what your greatest weakness is.
Okay, let's see. I think my weakness is I don't slow down. I go too fast. I need to stop and think things through. Sometimes I'm just always ready to jump off the cliff and figure out how to build the airplane on the way down. And I think my greatest strength could possibly be the same. I jump off a cliff and build the airplane on the way down. No, I think my strength is that I really love empowering people. I really have a lot of space and grace for agents and everything that they go through when they're new. So my strength would be empowering people, and my weakness would be slow down every now and then and be present.
Okay, I love it. Mitzi, how about you?
Did you say Jesse or Missy?
Mitzi.
Oh, yeah, I thought I heard Jesse too. That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'd say very similar. I think, a lot of us have ADD. I definitely do. I want to try to do too many things at once, I think. And so that's where it becomes really important for me to be intentional to make sure that I'm kind of sticking to what's in front of me instead of trying to segue into something else while I'm still, working on whatever it is that's before me. Which, in one way, I just have a lot of balls in the air. And I think, in one way that's kind of my superpower, but at the same time, it's kind of it's not really sustainable. So I'd say that's probably my biggest weakness and really strength at the same time, because I am very effective. It's just, I know I could be more effective if I would be a little more intentional with the things that I'm doing.
wonderful. Jesse, now will you hear you?
Awesome. Yeah, I think my biggest strength is I have great vision, and I'm also great at executing. That's why the book Rocket Fuel, when they talk about integrator and visionary, I'm great at. I have a very rare set of skills, even like with all the personality tests. But my biggest weakness is actually, and I've been practicing this for a really long time, is patience. I love this, like execute something, and I love to see results immediately. But sometimes things take time, and I just like to execute with a sense of urgency. I come from corporate America where they said, if something isn't done the day before, you just now lost that profitability for 24 hours, and you can't go back and get it. So, real estate's a lot different. We're talking in 30-day closings. So we're in a very slow-moving industry. So I've been working on my patience in a big way.
Wonderful. Thank you. And David, how about you? Strengthen your weaknesses.
Yeah, strength would be I don't give up. That goes back from, again, being a police officer, trained mentally that if you're in a fight, you don't give up. You fight until basically death. That's how I treat with my real estate deals. And then, we hit a roadblock, we find a way. We find a way to make that deal close. As for weaknesses, I'm actually introverted. So I can speak with people, but to go out, it's not my thing to go into the big crowds and to do those types of things. So to come out on stage and do this is part of me growing and trying to get rid of the weakness and kind of just evolve.
Great. Well, I think we are just about to the end of our session here. Brian, I don't know, did you want to come out? Did you want to say anything? I thank you all for being here, and I thank our icons for being here and just sharing. I think that is just so important. And whether you're a seasoned agent or a new agent, there's always golden nuggets that you can pick up during these sessions. So, Brian, thank you again for having me here.
Absolutely, Debbie. And I want to thank you. I want to thank Christine, Dave, Jesse, and Mitzi, all of you, for sharing this wealth of valuable information for our audience. If you are out there in the world watching this live on YouTube, smash that like button and join us every Friday at 8:45 a.m. Pacific Time, 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time for